Hey everybody, David here, and today I'm going to do a review for the Broadway show Wicked. I got the chance to see it yesterday, and I thought it would be fun to put my little review on it. I did a review for Aladdin when I saw that earlier this year, back in March, and I thought, okay, well, I'm seeing another Broadway play. Why not review this one too, right? Wicked. I'm going to admit, Wicked is something that I was unsure about, but then when I saw the trailer for the movie earlier this year, I thought to myself, okay, maybe I should check out this Broadway show. Maybe this is a great chance to see a Broadway show before seeing the movie, right? Similar to the Phantom of the Opera. I saw the Phantom of the Opera a long time ago, and they made a movie adaptation of it in 2004 starring Gerard Butler as the Phantom. And I thought it was a really nice adaptation of that Broadway play. I love the Phantom of the Opera. I think it's one of the all-time great. Now, to be fair, I haven't seen a lot of Broadway shows, but this year is going to change that a little bit because I did see Aladdin, now I saw Wicked, and later this year, at the end of the year, I'm going to be seeing The Lion King because that's coming to Toronto as well. So I'm really excited about The Lion King because that's like it's considered one of the all-time greatest Broadway hits, right? So I'm really looking forward to that. Aladdin and The Lion King, my two favorites. So when it comes to Disney Broadway, I'm already there because I love Disney, and I love a lot of those songs from the original animated films, and I want to hear some of the new songs, and I really liked a lot of the new songs that I heard in Aladdin. Wicked is entirely new to me because it's not based off an animated movie. It's coming with completely new songs. And I'll say this, I thought the songs were really nice in this Broadway show. As someone who wasn't expecting what these songs were going to be, I thought, yeah, the songs sound really great. I enjoy them. Someone asked me, do you have a favorite song from the play? But I'll say I don't think there was a song that necessarily stood out to me. I mean, I picked Defying Gravity, but I think I picked that more because of what happens in that moment of the play. It happens at the end of the first act that closes it and goes into the second act afterwards, where we get our little intermission. And I think it's what happens really in that scene where she's being lifted up at the end just before we go out. And because that was a cool moment. And I'll say that like maybe that's the reason I picked that song. But for the most part, when I really think about it, I don't think any of the songs really stood out to me. I might have to go back and download the soundtrack just to listen to it all to give a better answer on that. But for the most part, look, I enjoyed the songs that I was listening to. Just none of them really stood out to me. Like when you talked about Aladdin, for an example, Aladdin right away, I know, I love A Whole New World. That's my favorite Disney song, one of my favorite Disney songs of all time. But even if I picked one of the newer ones, I would say Proud of Your Boy. You know, I think that one is a song that resonates with me. And The Lion King, I Just Can't Wait to Be King, my favorite Lion King song, right? So there's always going to be a song that I know for sure. Even The Phantom of the Opera, I love The Phantom of the Opera, right? That song specifically. The Phantom of the Opera is there inside your mind, you know? That song to me is my favorite song from that play. So this one in particular, I can't guarantee that the song that I just said, Defying Gravity, is my favorite song, but I will say all the songs were really good. I can't really pinpoint the song that I enjoyed the most. As for the play itself, I thought it was a really fun, unique play. A great twist on an old tale of The Wizard of Oz, you know? This one centers more on the Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba. I'm probably forgetting what the name is right now. I think it was Elphaba. But yes, the Wicked Witch is a great character in this play. How it follows her from when she was just this geeky, kind of distant person, loner kind of character. She has a sister in a wheelchair, and Glinda and her really don't get along in the beginning of the play. They don't get along in any other version of these characters, right? I grew up watching The Wizard of Oz, so to me, the Wicked Witch has always been evil, and Glinda, the Good Witch, has always been good, right? That's how it's always been established in the old stories of The Wizard of Oz. But then you get Oz the Great and Powerful. That came out, I think, in 2010 or 2013. That movie with James Franco as the wizard, and Mila Kunis played the Wicked Witch. Obviously, there was a little bit of that in that movie where the Wicked Witch, it shows her origins. This one shows the origins in a completely different way, where, again, she starts off good, yes, but you really get to delve into that character, and maybe it's not the way you think it's going to go. Where in Oz the Great and Powerful, she turns evil right away. This movie really shows maybe she's not as bad as people make her out to be, and you see the other way of the Wizard of Oz story that we all know and love. You actually see a little bit of that, or a lot of it, in the other point of view through the second act of the play, which I thought was great, showing us like, hey, this is probably the way you should be looking at it now, which I thought was a great twist. And I really loved how this play took iconic characters from the Wizard of Oz story and really flipped them on their heads. Like, I'm not going to spoil anything for people that haven't seen the play and that might want to down the road, which I'll definitely recommend. And if you're going into the movie also, I don't want to spoil anybody that hasn't seen the play that is going to see the movie with fresh, open eyes. Because now after watching the play, I see a lot of the similarities that is from the play in the movie trailer. I'm like, oh, okay, that's that scene, that's this scene, that's that character, that's this character. So as someone who grew up with the original Wizard of Oz, I was wondering if this play was going to make references to like the Cowardly Lion or the Scarecrow or the Tin Man, because those are also iconic characters from the original film, and there are quite a bit of references to that original movie, right? They even make a reference to There's No Place Like Home, or I know Toto gets a little funny shout out. They call him Dodo at one point. It was pretty funny. Got a good laugh from the audience. And there were some other like they make a reference to Lions and Tigers and Bears, oh my, but they make it with like fruit. That so there are a lot of callbacks to the original Wizard of Oz that were put into this play that I really enjoyed as someone who remembers the original. I just actually watched the original film not too long ago again, because it's been a while, and I thought to myself, let me go check it out again. And so it was kind of good because then the references were fresh in my mind when I went to go watch this show. I mean, the Wizard of Oz is one of the most iconic movies of all time. So if you haven't seen the original Wizard of Oz, do yourself a favor and go check it out, especially if you are somebody that enjoys musicals. Yes, it's an older musical. It's from 1939, I believe, or 1938. But it's a movie that I think still resonates today pretty well. And Somewhere Over the Rainbow is still one of the most iconic songs of all time. That song is not in this movie, but it still holds up. And I will say, I thought the relationship between the Wicked Witch and Glinda were really well developed throughout this play. I thought it was interesting how they started off as rivals, but then as the play continues, they start to grow closer together, even though there are some bumpy roads along the way, right? Maybe a guy gets involved and there's kind of a love triangle in there. I'm not going to spoil who gets who, what happens towards the end, but I thought it was very fun and unique and interesting. A lot of the twists and turns in this play I thought were really interesting. And it's so hard and frustrating not to go into spoilers on this, but I don't want to spoil it for people who have not seen it or who have who are anticipating the movie, and I suggest to go and check it out because I feel like a lot of the same twists and turns are going to play into the movie, just maybe a little bit differently. We'll see. But yeah, I think this play is a lot of fun. There were a lot of funny moments. A lot of people were definitely having a great time. The play got a standing ovation at the end. As most of these plays do, you want to show respect to the actors, to the performers on stage, and I think all of them did a really great job, especially the two leading ladies that were definitely there. That's something I noticed about this play also, is how there were definitely a lot of women in the audience. So a lot of women definitely love this play. And that's not to say that I don't think men can't enjoy this play. I'm a guy. I enjoyed the play, so I think it's fine for everybody to enjoy. But it's definitely a play that seems to resonate more towards women. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can be a guy and still enjoy movies like Cinderella or Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I enjoyed those movies growing up, and I still enjoy a lot of, there's guys that like romantic comedies, and to me this is no different. And I suggest, if you are a guy and you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, give it a chance. I think you will enjoy this play. I think there's some funny jokes. I laughed out loud quite a lot, so I think there are some stuff that will entertain everybody. So I want to support this play because I want to say, even though I saw more women in the audience, I want to suggest to guys, my fellow guys out there, go and check out this play, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that, hey, especially if you know the story of The Wizard of Oz, I think you'll have a good time with it. The Wizard of Oz isn't just for women, it's for men too. And I think, there's iconic characters on both sides that people will resonate with and be like, oh yeah, I remember this. And there's a lot of great references and Easter eggs that people who remember the older stuff, the stories, like the original film, that you'll get something out of it, believe me. I also want to touch on the sets in this play. I was amazed with the sets. I thought they looked astonishing. I thought they looked amazing. When they were in the school, it gave me like kind of almost like we're in Hogwarts kind of vibes. Like, oh, this is cool how they decorated the set to make it feel like a school, like they're on campus or something like that. And when they were in a classroom, they had the big giant chalkboard with the goat character, which now that I've seen the goat character, I forgot what the teacher's name was, but you see him in the movie, in the trailer, in the second trailer that they released a month ago or something. You do see that goat character in the trailer, and I'm like, oh, they actually made him look like a goat, because in the play, obviously, he's a human and he's dressed like a goat, but they're actually making him a goat in the movie, which was really cool. Like that's some of the stuff that I geeked out about after I saw the play and then went back to watch the trailer. I'm like, oh, I know who that character is now. So it's really interesting. It's not just the iconic characters I know now. It's also the characters that are new to the story that are in the movie as well. And I really, really loved the Emerald City aspect of the play, because the Emerald City is such an iconic place in the movies and in the stories of The Wizard of Oz that, like, oh, to see that on stage, to see the giant mechanical wizard of the robotic face that the Wizard of Oz controls, like, to see all of that come to life on stage was really cool. I had a great time with it. So I thought the play was really great. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think this is definitely a story that a lot of people will, it's a story about friendship. It's a story about, there's a little betrayal in there, and there's some undertones to like racism and prejudice in there as well, I would say. So I think it had a lot of great things that a lot of people will relate to, and I definitely encourage people to go and check out this play, because I think but even before, if you have the chance to see it before the movie, I would recommend it, because let's face it, I think the play will be considered better than the movie, because usually that's how people view things. The thing that they watched first is usually the best thing. I'm not always that kind of person. Usually I'll be the kind of person that will say, no, I actually like the new stuff a little bit better. But I can see how people can probably lean towards the Broadway show more over the movie, because sometimes movies do have the tendency to screw things up when it comes to adapting stories. And I'm curious on how they're going to adapt this story, because apparently they're splitting the movie into two parts. I don't know how true that is. And I'm curious on how much they're going to cover in the second movie, because it looks like quite a bit of it has already been covered. So I don't know. I was even looking at the trailer, and yeah, I feel like you can see that this is definitely going to be like Act 1. This movie coming out is going to be Act 1. And I'm curious if they'll even touch on Act 2, or if Act 2 will be the second movie. So I don't know. With that being said, I hope you guys like this video. Please tell me your thoughts. If you have seen this play, Wicked, if you've seen it, tell me your thoughts on it. Tell me your favorite song. Tell me your favorite characters. Tell me any of that, because I'm looking forward to knowing what other people think. And with that being said, until next time, everybody, hopefully when we get to December, I'll do a review on The Lion King as well. I love The Lion King animated film, so I'm looking forward to the stage adaptation of that story. So with that being said, until next time, everybody, take care.